thanks for attending today. If you haven't been here for our learning labs before, I'm Chase Linsenbigler. This is something that we've put together to just try and enable all of our partners, customers, and prospects alike, and help them, better understand Wisys WMS. And today we have a little bit of a more sales-focused learning lab here. My partner Aaron Armendariz he's going to give you a little demonstration explaining when customers are ready for WMS, some of the key things that we look at for, how we know we can help them, the key things we want to hear them say for, how we know that they're in the right spot to get a WMS, some things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Aaron here and let him do his thing, and we'll educate you guys on some Wisys sales things today. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, thanks, Chase. I appreciate it. And we are going to go through some actual product demonstration as well. Obviously everything relates back to our product, and we can show things in real time. So not to waste a lot of time with PowerPoints, I do have some slides that I do want to go through that we can, basically today's goal is to help you as a reseller of Wisys, as a prospect, determining when it's time or when you're ready to buy WMS. And there's a lot of things that we hear during our discoveries, listening to our prospects and partners, understanding the needs of the companies, right? At the end of the day, every company wants to become more profitable and have a better return on investment. So that's the end goal, but there's a lot of things in between that help us determine, if they're ready to make a commitment to purchasing a WMS or taking that next step in their business. So we'll go through this quick PowerPoint here. And again, we'll talk about when the right time is for WMS, and we're gonna go through that in this PowerPoint here, but we'll show some of that in the demonstration and why Wisys is the choice when there are many competitors out there and lots of choices. I want to make sure that we relate that to why a Wisys is the answer and why your best investment would be using Wisys. And we'll take a look at all that together, and then we'll have some open questions if there are any here as well. So, first thing first, the words that you hear from your customers, prospects, we want to improve our accuracy. So there's a lot of different things that we hear. Improved accuracy is the first thing that most people come to me and say, Aaron, we're very inaccurate today. We are misshipping items. We are not pulling the right orders, or we're wasting a lot of time. So I'm going to talk about those things. And improved accuracy is one of the main things that we hear from our customers that they want to improve. What improved accuracy will do for them, and what they're asking me is, how do I become better at maintaining my accurate inventory or becoming a more accurate inventory? They're telling me things like, we're very inaccurate today. We do not know where things are located. This is where bins come into play. This is where barcoding and doing real-time inventory transactions will give you that goal of maintaining an accurate inventory, right? When you have accurate inventory, you're going to have the stock on hand necessary to fulfill orders, right? We're going to keep you with a limited or a more accurate valuation of your inventory. We're going to help you become better at order accuracy, and we're going to help you maintain consistent fulfillment, right? When you have products in stock, when you don't have stock outs, these are the things that people talk to us about. Reduce shipping errors. This is a huge one. Chargebacks. Having an accurate inventory and maintaining that improved accuracy is going to eliminate those errors, and we're going to get a better return on investment because we're not going to get penalties and charges and things like that. So these are just some of the things that people come to me and ask me about, right? These are things that we want to improve. And you say accuracy a lot. What we're doing is we're using barcoding to validate that information in real time when it happens at the first touch point. Some of the other things that say we want to be more efficient. We want to be better in the warehouse. And just some examples here, just pictures of highly efficient warehouses. When that happens by organizing information and data and doing data collection with barcode scanning again, right? So they're going to say we want accurate efficiency. We want improved efficiency. And by doing this, they're asking us about a lot of customers will have manual processes, right? So one of the things that Wisys is going to do and WMSs do is we automate a lot of manual processes you have in there, which in fact will improve productivity of your workers. It will save on labor and time, and it'll help you build that better, more efficient, optimized warehouse as well. At the end of the day, you're going to get better forecasting, reporting, and better visibility. And that's one of the big keys that Wisys provides. And any WMS is going to give you the better visibility to make better business decisions, right? So we want the visibility from the CFO all the way down to the warehouse worker to get the visibility. And that's the best part about being integrated into SAP as Wisys is. We're going to have the believable database or the information in the ERP all the way out to the warehouse workers that we extend that functionality to, right? So what do I mean by that? So improving accuracy, improving efficiencies, speed and velocity. These are all things that people ask about and talk about when they want to be better and implement a WMS, right? Are we ready for a WMS? Well, what happens is we're going to integrate into SAP Business One, and we're going to extend the functionality that typically you did in the front office, things like an order entry person, right? Or paperwork that's passed from the office to the warehouse. We're going to try to eliminate all that, right? So we're going to take those things that we typically did in the front office, and we're going to move them out to the warehouse where things happen, right? We're going to increase that efficiency by doing the work where it happens. So the things that you might hear from a prospect or a customer saying, we're doing paper-based transactions. We're losing paperwork, right? That's how they're going to become more efficient, by actually doing these actions in the warehouse where the transactions actually take place, right? Therefore, you're going to get the believable information that you believe things have been moved using barcode scans. So believing where things are located, having items that are found, right, where we know where the location is in the proper bin area, right? These things are going to help you become more efficient. They're going to reduce the number of steps you take around your warehouse, right? We're going to actually become faster because we are doing these when the transaction is happening. So that's a good example. And today we're going to go through a standard warehouse management process, right? Standard WMS, things that most people know. But if you're new to WMS, we want to take you through the journey of the warehouse from receiving goods all the way out to shipping these out with one solution, right? We don't want to have 3, 4, 5 different add-ons to accomplish the goal that a simple WMS like Wisys can handle. We're going to receive things. We're going to do a little put away. We're going to give you that visibility and that storage. I'm going to show you how everybody in the company has visibility and believability into the data that they're seeing, because it is in the ERP as well as in Wisys on the handheld device. And then we're going to do some picking. A place where people say they need to become more efficient is in picking. And Wisys handles picking many different ways. We're going to show you a couple of ways that allow you to become more efficient, faster, more productive, right? Reduce those labor costs that people talk about all the time. And then we're going to help pack and ship. So we're going to reduce those shipping errors. We're going to validate real information and make sure that we're shipping the right items in a timely manner, okay? So let's go and take a look at some of the software. Now, for those of you that have not worked with Wisys, that are new to us, that are looking at Wisys as an investment, Wisys is an Android application that runs on an Android handheld device. So I'm actually going to open that device up, and we're going to take a look at some visibility to begin with, right? And I want to show you the real-time capabilities that Wisys is going to be different than other solutions out there. So I'm going to log into my device using my manager password, and I'm going to bring up the application here on the desktop. Now, I will be working today in SAP Business One. We are using the SQL version 10.0, and I will be showing you menu items based on the relationships between the handheld device and Wisys and SAP. So the first thing is we're going to do that receiving that we talked about, right? We're going to go into receiving, and we have a purchase order here, right? So we're going to have an open purchase order that's set up and available for us to take a look at. And we're going to do some receiving. It says, now, this is standard out of the box functionality. But what I really want to show you is the integration into SAP, right? So we're talking about one point of truth here, right? We want again, the C-level, suite level of people to get the same information and the same data that the people that are doing the transaction are. So we're using the item masters within SAP. So if I drill into this item here, I can actually see the item, and I can see the inventory data currently in my warehouse right in SAP. That actually matches up with my handheld device. If I look up at an item view, and I can go into item view here of my application here. If I were to scan this barcode of this item, I can actually see the same information that SAP is showing me in real time. So making it very easy for a worker, a manager, someone to go down to the warehouse floor and actually scan the first item. And I'm just taking a little bit long because I just opened up my handheld device, but you'll see that'll work much quicker on your warehouse floor. But you can see in real time that my item view lookup in Wisys matches that of SAP Item Master. It even tells me how many are committed to an order, which we're going to ship out today, how many are on order on POs, and how many are in stock available for me to fulfill orders with. Now, if these were serialized items or batch tracked items, I could even drill into that information here at the bottom. But I can look at the bin level as well to actually see where things are located, right? So if I click on the bin here, I can see that right now, and it'll tell me my bin availability right here as it loads. Might have clicked on this too many times. I'm actually going to close out of my PowerPoint here because I think that's slowing me down in general. Sorry, guys. All right. Right now, so you'll see I've scanned that item and I've clicked on the bin location, and I can see the bin locations in my handheld device, right? This is that visibility they were talking about, right? If you don't believe your data, if you don't believe what the system is reporting you, do you believe the ERP as well, right? And this is all the singular database that we maintain. And I can even look at my bin contents here within SAP. So I can go to my bin locations right here and see that same information, right? So it shows me the location that I have, and I've shown you that on the handheld device. So you're going to get that relationship there to make sure that those numbers do match, right? So when I close this out, let's just go back to that receiving, and let's do a little receiving here, right? So we're going to take that purchase order, and that purchase order number is 1384. Now, typically, you might have a receiver sheet, something that has a barcode with that PO on it, or the truck might have the PO on the packaging, but I'm going to go to my application here, goods receipt PO, and I'm going to allow this to load up here, and I'm going to start receiving against an open PO. Right, so my first blue focus field here is where we're doing our action. We can look up items, right? I can do a quick lookup here, and it'll show me my POs available with open space. There's that 1384. I can type it in and type in the order number, and I could hit enter, and it's going to drop to the next line, right? That item level. It's going to move down to the item down below here. And now I can add the items. Now, if I were to actually clear that out, right? If I were to clear this whole thing out and type in or look up the wrong order number, it's going to give me a haptic feedback. This is the validation, the real-time validation with SAP that says this isn't an open PO to receive against. So I'm accurately scanning items using barcoding, right, to realize the real PO that's available, and that's 1384. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the item level. And you can't skip around on our forms. You have to follow through the form use here, and I'm going to scan my first item. Now, if that was batched or serialized, it would actually require my batch information there, but it's not. This is just a manual unit measure, and Wisys handles all units of measure, and I'm going to receive 1,000 of these. Now, I can under-receive, over-receive. I could receive half now, go to lunch. We preload the data into tables and allows you to do the POs as you need to do them, right? And in this case, I'm going to just receive these other two items real quickly so I can show you the posting process and the relationship to SAP here. Oops, we're going to do 1,000 here. And then the last item here, there's 3 items on this PO that I'm going to take. And the last item will be scanned here. And we're going to take 1,000 of these. Now the point of that is now to show you the a compound transaction in Wisys. So when people are talking about automating things, these are the type of things that Wisys will automate. With our posting functionality on this form, when I hit post, it's going to do multiple things in SAP. And in this tailored form here, it's allowing me to take a picture. So I can take a picture of my items here if I have pictures. I can take a picture with the camera of the Android device. And these are just some examples I'm going to use. I'll take a picture of these needles. There we go. And I'm going to click OK once I've taken a picture. Now, signature and picture capture aren't necessary, but I want to show you how Wisys helps automate customers looking for, an improved efficiency in the warehouse. So I'm going to actually require a signature on this case as well. And what it's also going to do now, it's going to print out barcode labels. So Wisys has a barcode label designer included with the software that allows you to create and design your own barcode using data from SAP. This is another way we help with the accuracy, right? We're not taking tribal knowledge. We're going to make you require to scan items if they have barcodes on them. So we're placing barcodes on those items today. And make sure. Let's make sure we can post that. I might have done something wrong here. But we'll continue on to some other stuff here real quick. Okay, so we've posted that, right? We've changed our purchase order to a goods receipt PO, and we've printed out labels for our products to be put away, right? So we do have the availability to now take a look at different lookups. We can do, I apologize here, guys. My emulator's working pretty slow here. Gonna reopen it real quick. Okay. So in the real world, things do happen. Obviously, I'm using an Android emulator on my desktop here. I just think I have quite a bit of things running at the same time. Wisys has the availability to help people be better in the warehouse by doing goods receipts, standard goods issues. Now, I wouldn't assume a random warehouse worker would do goods receipt, but we can do goods issue right within our application and allow you to adjust the GL ledger by issuing goods, simple goods issues and goods receipt within the application. And again, that follows through a form process. So we're requiring scanning here because we want to create that accuracy, right? People will have the ability to type and do things quicker, but if you were to scan, you're going to solve a lot of the downstream issues that you have by doing manual transactions. And in this case, I'm going to actually issue this to a bin, a location, my staging bin, and I'm going to issue out 1,000 from that bin. And that transaction in real time happens in SAP Business One. That's the real reason you want to use Wisys when it comes to doing any of the WMS products out there, because it's one solution, right? If this is happening in Wisys, this is happening in SAP. So we've seen a little bit of the handheld. I've actually even printed out some labels here so you could see that, right? This is using our label design software. With Wisys, we have the availability to tailor our product. So this is our secret sauce. This is what really seals the deal for your customers or for prospects that have unique needs. We understand that every company out there does something a little unique. They use UDFs, UDTs, different databases, right? What we're going to do is we have our tool set that we give to our customers that allow them to modify the solution. So like that receiving you saw that I did earlier, we can actually modify that form using our tool set without programming, without going back to developers to be able to do modify the forms and tailor the product. So this is just opening up here. Give it a second. There we go. And I'm going to open up a project here. And remember that goods receipt PO form that we use to receive against? This is where we designed that form. And this is a standard out of the box form. And I understand that some people want to change how that form works because they're unique business processes, right? So in this case, I have a customer that wants to actually scan an item before they scan the PO, right? So what we can do is we can simply move that item field above the order and add some validation to require, once that item is scanned, to now show the available orders that that item is on. Very easily, we can manipulate and tailor the system to the unique needs of that customer. This is Wisys' definite secret sauce. This is where we win deals with, right? This is where we can beat the competition by allowing you to change the product. And very easily too, on that post button that I showed you, we had 6 actions that actually happened. That's the composite transaction, right? We had that post that purchase order to a goods receipt PO, but we actually required a signature. We've uploaded an image as well. We've actually even printed out labels when necessary, right? So this is all the things that happen with a single click of the button in Wisys, making your life in SAP much easier, right? So those tools get delivered to you and your customers. The customer has access to learn these tools. It takes resources, but you can eventually modify the solution yourself. You can also create new forms that haven't even been thought of yet, right? You have unique processes. Maybe you have a delivery process that you have that's unique. This is where our consultants and our partners consultants can help you really tailor the application to your needs. So I wanted to show you that as well. I do also want to show you our label design studio, and this is just a side note. This is something that's included with Wisys, right? When somebody says they want to do simple barcoding, right? When they just want to improve some accuracy, or when they want to become more efficient by scanning, right? They'll get this software included with Wisys to be able to create your own label system. So if your vendors aren't giving you labels with your products, or if you're creating a finished good from production, you can create your own label system here. And I'm just going to open a label that I've created, and it's, you know, from a salesperson. So this is just me with very limited knowledge building my own labeling system. And you see here, there are different types of barcodes that we can use. We can drag and drop. It's a very simple system. But the nice thing is I can pull information from the database, right? I can pull information and put that into my labels. So if I have a picture of the item or my logo, I can do that as well. I can also put my batch and serial information directly on there and creating a serial number. Any of these blue database fields here is the relationship, or allows me to pull data from SAP. You can make any size labels, that they're 4x6, 1x3, 1x1 labels. Any information that you want to achieve on a label can pull directly from SAP into our label design software. And that's delivered to our partners and customers as well. All right, so let's take a look at some other stuff. I want to show you, visibility was one of the things that people had asked about. You know, we want to have more visibility into data. Well, Wisys has a desktop application called Agility Explorer Desktop. And this is a separate license than a scanning license. But what this does is give you a menu structure system, just like SAP, outside of SAP or inside SAP in the SAP menu, to have analytical data show up from Wisys, right? We have different menus here: inventory, sales, purchasing, business partners, production, and service here. But I do want to show you some of the things that we do in sales. Now, this is a grid system. We can, again, modify this system with our tailored applications, right? With our tailored design tools. And this gives me a different view, almost like an Excel spreadsheet, into data in SAP. So I want to get more analytical, more information based on my warehouse management. This is an application that runs on a Windows desktop. And you'll see here that this is a grid style, and I can filter by open orders here. This is a sales order grid that we have, by customer name, right? I can take a look at detail, and I can even drill into these line items and see the child graph of everything associated with that, right? So I can now make better business decisions. I can take a look at everything that's on this specific order and see where it is, if it's been picked, if it's been released to pick, what available inventory I have. So I'm getting a deeper view into that, and I can group by these things. What I really want to do is I want to go to an open order that we have and take a look at something that we've done today. Let's take here, C2000. So I want to look at all my customers here. I'm just going to look at my open orders, and I'm going to look at all the openers. I'm going to actually sort those by order number, which I could do here. Let's do that. And I could see my open orders. Cancel. Let's sort that here. All right, so let's go to my most recent order here. And I'm going to take a look at this order real quick. 1319 is an open order that we have for some of the items that we received today, and we're going to actually kind of fulfill this order. But you see here that this order is not past due, so there's not a red alert flag here for that order. I can actually even see what's on that order, and I can see that a pick list has been released. So we're adding some automation here, right, where we can see at what point things are in our order status, right? I could see what's available to be picked, and I can make decisions on it. I can even drill into SAP from the hyperlink in Wisys, right? So here's the sales order I do want to fulfill today. And typically, people will pick from a pick list. You can do simple sales order delivery from a sales order, right? You can do many different ways of fulfilling orders. And that's one of the things that people ask me about, is the ability to successfully fulfill orders with accuracy and velocity, right? We want to be efficient when picking orders. We want to pick the right orders. We want to make sure it's done as efficiently and as accurately as possible. There's a few different ways we could do that. And today what I'd like to show you is our directed sales order picking, because this is the most popular. And we are going to use the pick list from SAP. Again, integrated fully into SAP, where we can view our pick list here. And I have a pick list number 99 assigned to a user, Jason Butler. So obviously I can pick other pickers. I could release to everybody, right? But in this case, I'm going to assign this pick list to somebody for picking, packing, and shipping. So let's actually go back to our handheld, and we're going to actually do a directed sales order pick. Now what this is going to do is going to take me through an organized warehouse efficiently through a pick path using the SAP bin location master, and allow me to pick products in a single order, a multiple order, a wave pick, however you company picks. Wisys can help you with that. So I'm going to do a pick list number 99 here. And I can scan that, right? I can look up the pick list, so I don't need to give paper to that worker. We're eliminating a lot of the paper trail. You could do a hybrid. You could have them have a piece of paper and still give it to them. But I know the orders I need to pick here based on my handheld. And it's actually going to tell me where to go pick that order, right? So it's telling me the first item to pick is at the bin 05A1S1L1. So I'm going to go to that bin. I'm going to scan the item, and I'm going to validate that by scanning the bin. And I'm going to take 2 from that bin. Now it's going to tell me the next item to get in an orderly fashion, right? So if I'm picking multiple orders on that single pick list, that's completely all right. I want to do a wave pick. I'm going to go pick all the orders today that I have. But in this case, I'm picking a single order. I'm going to pick the second item here, and I'm going to scan the bin that I'm taking that from, and I'm going to grab 2 there. And you'll see on the handheld, it's telling me it's fully picked. When I go into SAP and refresh that, it's going to also tell me it's picked. So in real time, as I'm doing actions in the warehouse, as I'm fulfilling these picks, it's going to recognize that in the ERP as well. So we've picked that item. We've actually staged that item automatically to actually take this to our packing station and shipping it. Now remember earlier, before I was talking about efficiency, one way Wisys achieves efficiency is by using one solution from receiving all the way to shipping, right? So when we want to ship, we can actually use Wisys, our agility shipping module, to ship out the product. So I'm going to go to my fulfillment manager here, and I'm going to open this up. This is typically your packing station or your shipping station, where it runs on a desktop computer. And we're going to package these items for shipment. Now you can pick and pack on a handheld device. I can pack cartons from a handheld if I do that in the aisle. Many different ways to create efficiencies and give you that velocity that we're always talking about, speeding things up. But we want to validate it being accurate by scanning, right? So in this case, I'm going to build a shipment at a packing station. I'm taking these items over. I've moved them over to the staging area where I'm going to now pack them. So I'm going to click the new shipment icon here. And I'm going to grab a box, right? I might have multiple different types of boxes or a standard box or just any old box. I can add a carton here. And I'm going to pack these items into a carton. Again, this can also be achieved on a handheld device. We can actually do the same thing here from the handheld that some people like to do as well, called pack cartons, right? And I'm creating the same shipment from a handheld, creating the same cartons and doing the same items, but in the aisle or in the using a handheld device, right? So the options are there to do that. But in this case, I'm building this on our packing station, and I'm going to add our first item. So let me just take a look, and I can look up the orders. I could scan the order from the order sheet that I have, but here's that order that I have, 1360. And I'm going to scan the first item, and I'm going to take that. It's already at the staging bin, and I'm going to take 2 there and hit the OK button. And it's going to pack those 2 items into this carton. Now I can add a second carton if I had 2 cartons, or I could just add these other 2 items to the same box since they're on the same order, and I'm going to scan those next item. Okay, so at the staging bin, and I'm going to hit 2 here, and click OK. Okay, so that order that we have in SAP has the 2 items in a single carton box. Again, could be done on the handheld if that's how you process them. But if you have a packing station, this is where we're building the package. And you'll notice that I have a ship via here, and that's identified UPS ground, right? So we're going to integrate our agility shipping product directly into Wisys here, right? You see that I have the UPS icon that's actually lit up. If this was a FedEx order, you'd see FedEx available. We always have truckload LTL available if you want to just do a simple delivery note, if this is a cash and carry deal, somebody's going to pick it up. But in this case, we're going to use our new agility shipping product to use UPS. And it's actually going to bring up the UPS agility shipping screen, the UPS screen that we have. We can weigh it if we need to weigh that box. The weights and measures are all pulled from SAP, so we would have that already for that carton. Let's just put MaxiTech here as my company. I do have my ship to and ship from addresses here. We can do third-party drop ship if necessary. That's all set up in Wisys settings. We even now have international shippings originating from the US now. We can select the service available, and I'm gonna check the ground sheet here, right? Because we're gonna do ground. And then I'm gonna do another composite transaction by clicking the ship button. When I hit ship, this is where it reaches out to the API of UPS, right? It's gonna return my carrier labels, right? So if this is multiple boxes, I'd have multiple UPS labels here. It can also print out my packing list if necessary. It can print out a bill of lading. Any additional information that needs to go in there through our document management allows us to create more efficiency by adding those documents that need to be printed. So this effectively has been shipped out, which we relieve the inventory also in SAP by creating a delivery note. Let's show you that as well, right? So let's go back in SAP and look at that order that we had. Maximize this. We don't need the purchase order any longer. Let's go back to sales here. And I'm gonna go to the last sales order that we had, which was 816 or 1316, I believe, 1319. Let's see if that did that here. So there's that shipped item in our shipping. So I can actually scroll through all my shipments. So if I wanted to work on one shipment and work on something else, that shipment number is 182. Let's go back into SAP here. Now there's that sales order that we just completed, right? If I do a relationship map here, you'll see that we've created the delivery note, which we've done today, 9/12, and we've got the delivery note of those items that we've shipped out. And we also now have the tracking information back into SAP. So again, keeping that theme with one solution all the way through. We don't need to switch from 2 or 3 different add-ons or using WorldShip or Starship alone. We can continue using Wisys from receipt all the way out to production, visibility in the warehouse, inventory transactions, inventory transfer requests, inventory cycle counting. All those are available for you to do in Wisys, and those are all integrated into SAP. So I showed you a little bit about Wisys and why people, what the questions are that people ask when they want to do a WMS, right? When they hear the fancy words, what is a WMS? Why are they doing it? You know, we're going to create better efficiencies. We're going to increase your accuracy, and we're going to really achieve a high efficiency with doing these transactions using barcoding all the way through. So that's what I wanted to show you today. I know you guys will have more questions. Really, I know you might want to take a look at our Agility Explorer desktop to give you better reporting capabilities and analytics. These are things that come along with the discovery process with Wisys. So if we have any questions or anything out there, I'd be happy to take it now. I know it's a little bit shorter webinar here, but I just want to give you guys a glimpse in the type of things people ask and just relate those to how we do them in SAP and Wisys.
Okay, Aaron, it looks like I don't have any new questions in the chat. One thing I did want to ask about is a little bit about when somebody uses Agility Shipping, what does their process tend to look like inside of Wisys? You know, obviously there's a bunch of different routes you can go to pack the shipment. What are some common things we see there, and is that commonly tailored?
Well, a lot of stuff can be, I recommend utilizing the out-of-the-box process first, right? Like I like starting with out-of-the-box. But what I have noticed, a lot of people tend to try the pick and pack in the aisle, right? Where they picking and packing in boxes in the aisle while they're picking. So eliminate some of that labor that's necessary for a separate packer. So if the picker is the same guy that packs, they have an opportunity to increase some efficiency by packing in the aisle, using the handheld packing, creating those shipments. And then when they bring it over to be shipped through Agility shipping, all they would need to do is bring up that shipment number that was created from the handheld packing, right? So all the work of the packing portion will be done during the pick process as well. So that's one way people tend to use Wisys. Another way is the way I showed you, where you can pick and then bring things over to a packing shipping station to be loaded into that, right? Does that kind of answer your question, Chase?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And one other thing too, that would be nice to highlight is just when somebody is ready for a WMS, whenever they, you know, make that jump and go ahead and bring in Wisys, typically, you know, is there a lot of process change? You know, how does our team work with them to, I guess, get the best environment set up before the implementation?
Well, first of all, we do a bunch of discovery. We learn a lot about the company up front, but typically we'll want to do a business process review, and these might be for the you know, the larger companies where they have some processes they've been doing for 10, 15 years. You know, Wisys will hopefully add some of these, you know, answer the questions that I've asked at the beginning of, you know, improved accuracy, better efficiency, velocity, all those things, right? What we'll do is we'll review those processes with them. So typically from the receiving to each step that they do, we'll review that and say, hey, is this the best way to do it? Or is there a better way that we can create these efficiencies and these accuracy improvements, right? Are there things we could do to make you better? And we'll go through each one of those. And, you know, you could try the out-of-the-box solution. You can also tailor our product to fit the needs. If you have very specific needs, I know pharmaceutical chemicals, they have very specific needs, you know, hazmat materials, that we really need to tailor our product to fit their needs. So that's kind of where we go about that, you know, but we definitely like to do business process review, you know, and see and come on site, see what you guys are doing, see what your customers are up to after we've done a lot of that discovery, you know, and we will review each one of those processes and fit Wisys into those processes. Obviously, you know, helping you become better at what you do and get a better return on investment.
Perfect. Yeah, Aaron, I think that's exactly what we were looking for. And I really think that's all the questions we have as of now. But of course, if anybody comes up with more questions or anything like that, Aaron and I are always here to answer them.
Yeah, Chase, and then just just the thinking of WMS, right? Like you want to start thinking like somebody that works in a warehouse. Real world instances, real world problems. Most people, a prospect will come to us or a partner, and they'll understand from maybe a C-level suite point of view the issues that they're having. You really need to focus too on each department that's touched by WMS. WMS, we typically just think it's a warehouse problem. This is a business problem, right? There are problems that happen for the controller that they want to have one point of truth, right? They want to get the correct information when it comes to write-offs, shrinkage, things like that. But you also have the warehouse worker that wants to be more efficient, wants to not get 10,000 steps in a day to pick orders. They want to have an optimized warehouse. So you want to get all those points of view when you're talking to your prospects.
Definitely. Well put, Aaron. Yeah, I think that was a great point.
You don't want to be stuck in the corner. I mean, you want to make sure that you can answer the questions from everybody because it does touch everybody. So, yeah, I appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think just one more thing to add to that, which I mean you've kind of covered, but it is just a organizational, cultural move, right? When you implement a WMS, I mean you're going in there trying to make your processes and everyone's lives easier. So you have to take into account that that's a move that should affect your company culture and should improve it. So you want to try and intertwine that where possible and do your best to bring everyone in.
At the end of the day, Chase, I want believable data. And as I do data collection with barcode scanning, I remove tribal knowledge, I remove the errors. I can believe as a company, I can believe the data that's going through my system. So, I could do better procurement, better ordering, better, picking, packing, shipping. I could do these things better so that I could become a leaner, more effective company.